what I had time for to let you guys know, and now we have time for some questions.
Thank you very much, Christian. This
Thanks.
was really awesome for you going through. I have some water for you.
Thank
So I
you.
think I'll just turn the camera a little bit over
Yeah.
here because then you can
Yes.
see a little bit more of the exhibition while we start with the questioning.
Yeah, it's a nice backdrop to have, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is.
Mm.
Just turn a little bit. So, as I mentioned earlier, we're gonna take some questions from you guys. Maiken is gonna post the question that we are currently focusing on, and the questions that we are gonna focus on are the questions that are about this period and fits this session here.
Yeah.
So I will start with the first one, and that is: would you elaborate a little bit on the first foreign sales company in Germany?
Yes. Yeah. So it is a big thing, right? That we set up the first foreign sales company in Germany in 1956. Um, as I briefly mentioned, we before that we have exported a little bit, for example, to Sweden. We had set up a little bit of production in Norway at some point because of some import-export restrictions. So it's something we have done a little bit of, but now all of a sudden we see that we want to set up a specific sales company for the first time in a foreign country, and we choose Germany because it's a huge, fantastic market for us, a big toy market, and we want to see if we can get our foot in that market, and we think we have this fantastic product, the Lego system in play, and the town plan to go with that. So we do try to do that, and I have a couple of cool stories I think surrounding that, and that is when we go into this new market. At first, Godfrey really has a lot of difficulties. He travels to Germany, and we focus on the northern part of Germany at first because it's a big country, and that's the part closest to Denmark and the Danish border. So I guess that makes sense to focus on that at first, and especially the northern German city of Hamburg is where we sort of say, let's see if we can show get some of our products in the toy stores and department stores in Hamburg. So Godfrey goes down to Hamburg, and he goes in visiting a lot of toy stores and department stores, and he shows these beautiful products, and he says, would you be interested in having this in your store? And they all say, nah, can't see the point. Why? It's not interesting for us. Okay, that wasn't the answer he was looking for, but he goes home and he's, what's going on? Why can't they see the potential here? He's so convinced that if he can just get the products out into the stores so that children can see it and touch it and see what you can do with it, it will be a success. So he really just, no, I'm not going to take no for an answer here. So what he does allegedly is that he asks family and friends and employees, and he also hires a few people to travel to Hamburg and to go into all of these stores and ask for the ecosystem in play. So he makes a little bit of demand for the product, and then some of the stores say, yeah, okay, let's give it a go, and they get this product in the stores, and Godfrey was right, because it doesn't take long for Germany to become the biggest Lego market, surpassing Denmark. So he was right. Another cool story, brief, I want to mention is setting up the sales company in northern Germany. Um, Thinking about doing that, Godfrey travels quite a lot in northern Germany, also to figure out where do we set up, and we end up setting up in a town called Hohenwestedt. I hope I pronounced that sort of right. So he remembers driving me through Hohenwestedt, that, oh, I know someone in this town, and then Godfrey, he drives and he visits his old friend Axel Thompson, and he talks about him, what he's thinking about doing, setting up a sales company. And Axel Thompson, he's really keen on this, and he says, oh, I want to be a part of this. I want to be managing director of this new sales company. And Godfrey says, no, Axel, you can't. Why not? Because he already owned a company. he had a company already, and Gottfried, he wanted a guy who was all about focusing on our products, on the Lego system in play, because that is what it deserves. And though he travels home to Billund, a couple of days later, Axel Thompson knocks on his door in Billund, and he says, "I'm ready. I am ready to do this. I have sold my company to my sons. I am ready to do this. I believe in these products." So it turned out he had the right guy for the job after all. Yeah, so sorry, that was quite a long answer, but I thought they're pretty nice stories surrounding this sales company here in Germany.
It is a good answer, though.
Yeah.
So the next question is, how long did it take for Gottfried to come up with the idea of a system in play after meeting with the salesperson on the
Troels Petersen, I believe he's called, and yes, that is actually a very good question, and I'm sure maybe somewhere deep down in our archives, maybe the answer is there, but we are yet to find that. So we don't quite know exactly how long it took, but it can have been long, because if that happens in 54 and we introduce the product in 55, it has to be something that he came up with fairly quickly. But I'm not sure it went just as quickly as creating the tubes for the Lego brick. It might have been more than 5 days, but that's the answer. Between 5 days and a year, I don't know. It's we don't quite know that. Yeah.
Good answer. So the next question is, why is there a slot on the side of the 1950s area Lego bricks? And do they fit with the Lego bricks from today? I think it's the slots in the side of the Should we go down there?
We could, and I also think actually this one has one as well.
We'll go down there, because
let's take a look.
Take a little bit.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. Let's do that, and we're walking and walking. It's a big exhibition here, so.
And there's definitely not any cables on.
No,
they can't.
No. Why would we have cables here? No. Can't imagine that. So so we have some of them right here, and actually it goes all the way back to the very early ones, also from 1949, the automatic binding bricks, and all the way up through a lot of the 50s. And it is right, we have these sort of slots or slits here in the side, and actually the point of that is that was how you put in doors and windows back then. So together with these bricks that you might be able to see in the slits, we had some very thin doors and windows that you could sort of slide in there and build around, and then you had doors and windows. You can sort of see it on the drawings on the box as well, how these very sort of slim windows are put in between the bricks. So that is actually why these little slots are there.
That's really cool. Can we take a little bit closer look of just the brick?
Yeah. Just so you can see that.
Really cool.
And you just sort of put it down there, and
It's good that we stand here, because the next question is were the proportions of the Lego elements chosen? How was it chosen? The thickness of the sides of the bricks, the width of tubes and studs, and so on.
Yeah. So of course, again, as I mentioned, there is again we are inspired by this Kittycraft brick. So the overall dimension is basically because that's the dimensions that brick has. But we do change the dimensions slightly. If I remember correctly, but it is very, very slightly. But it is somewhat of a coincidence that it's exactly this size. But it is a nice and handy size, right? So why change that when it seems to work, right? So it is inspired by these earlier plastic bricks that were already out there, which had that sort of that size, and so we went with that. And of course, up through the years, we have fine-tuned that, because the thickness of the walls and the tubes and so on, they have changed over the years, because we always try to make our brick better and fine tune it, and of course also the material of what kind of plastic we use is also changed up through the years. We are going to talk about that next time because that happens in the early 60s. So a lot of fine tuning going on as well. Yeah.
Cool. At this time, what was the most common Lego plastic piece in the first year of the plastic pieces? Was it the brick or?
Inside these boxes, basically what you got was you got these 2x4 bricks, and you got some 2x2 bricks, if I remember correctly, and then some a little bit of doors and windows, and that was basically it. Yeah.
So what was the most common? Was it more common to have the bricks or to have because we also made some more plastic animals at that time?
Yeah, so at that point in time, the early, most definitely it was other plastic products. Again, the plastic brick in the late 40s, the early 50s, again, is a small part of the company, but slowly, gradually, it grows in sales, and as we start to see the potential and introduce more and more ideas to go with it, and especially from 55 onwards, when we come up with the system, we really know we are onto something here. But at first, it is just a small part of the total turnover of the company.
We got a question about the Ferguson tractor.
Oh yes.
And should we just go to that?
Yes, let's do that, because
more into.
I never get tired of the Ferguson tractors here.
Could we turn around, because then I can see from that side.
Yep.
That's
no problem.
Way,
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, really cool.
So the question is, what was the tires on the Ferguson tractor made of? Was it the same type of plastic all the way through?
No, it's as you might be able to tell, it is some kind of rubber of some kind that we made for these tires. They are soft. They are softer than the plastic the rest of the tractor is made out of. I don't quite know exactly what it is, but it is some kind of rubber. That is for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We used rubber in those days.
Yeah. For stuff like that, and we also have examples of of wooden cars, wooden toys. Again, remember, we still produce wooden toys at this point in time, so we also have wooden toys with rubber wheels. Also some with wooden wheels, of course, but we also have some with rubber wheels. So we start also to introduce rubber together with plastic or close to it at least.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we do have a question actually about the picture that is just behind you.
Yeah. This one.
And it is about that someone has seen that there's a picture in the exhibition of women were a key part of the history in the LEGO system. Can you tell us a little bit more about the work conditions in the factory, the impact on Billund and social responsibility? But let's start with the There was both men and women in the factory.
Yes, that is exactly, and that is we conclude that because we have a lot of photos from from the old days in the factory, and there are both men and women working in those photos. So yeah, we both men and women worked in the factory. The ratio I don't know anything about, but also I like the question because it is of course important also to have in mind that in Billund, this is a very big employer. The LEGO Group is a substantial employer here in the country, in the town, right? So compared to how many people lived in Billund, quite a big percentage of them had some kind of connection to the LEGO Group. So it was, you could say that is what we have seen all along, that from Ole coming to this very, very small town and setting up his carpentry business, starting to produce the wooden toys and going into plastic toys and so on, we can see that the town and the company has sort of grown together. and been dependent on each other. You know, that's also one of the reasons why we still have our headquarters here in Billund. You know, we could have had that in many other places that might be better, but this is where we come from. This is our roots, and we feel a strong connection, and the owner family feels a strong connection to Billund. So this is